We've got a good group. All right, thank you everybody for joining us on a Tuesday night, a little bit late. Before we get into kind of talking about this week, I want to just ask if there's any questions. First of all, I have my chat window open, or you can unmute your mic. I want to talk a little bit about the textbook because some of you, is anybody having a hard time getting the text? Have most of you been able to get it? Okay, that's good news. If you don't have the text, I'm going to cover the basics of what's in the text today. That's not an excuse not to read it, because I recommend that you read it. But I'll do that for the next couple of weeks so that if anybody's having a hard time, I know things have slowed way down. You have to order it online. Most of you probably aren't in Rexburg, so it's really hard to find on Amazon, the text. So it's the bookstore is the best way to get it. So before we launch in today, though, are there any questions? I'll just review what's going to happen this week. Chapters 1 and 2 of Inner Victory. The fish video, I've heard from a couple of people that the fish video, they haven't been able to watch it. If it doesn't come up, then maybe try another browser. I'm hearing from Brianna that she can't get it to come up. So try a different browser. If that doesn't work, email me and I will send you an alternative link. Eva and Mahina said Google it on YouTube. So actually, let me do this just for the sake of making this easier. I'm going to go here. I bookmarked this yesterday. It's not the entire video, but it is a
difference for people. Like when they come by, they leave in a better mood, and a lot of people have told.
Okay, I'm going to put this in chat. I'll also email this to everybody. So
your screen is frozen.
Okay, let me fix that. Stop share. Share again. Here we go. Is that back to being unfrozen?
Yes, thank you.
All right, good. Okay, so I just put in chat a alternative option to watch the video. And then in the email I send out with the recording, I'll go ahead and send that link to everybody as well. So let's see, chat window, does that work? Where's my chat window? Chat. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. I'd like you in chat or unmute your mic and visit with me or us. What are some of the transitions that you guys are going through right now? Actually, we're kind of all going through a unique transition that I've not experienced in my life. But take COVID-19 away. What's some of the transitions you guys are experiencing right now in your life? Coming home from a mission, another coming back from a mission. So Natalie and Justin, both just home off of missions, one from Brazil. Anything else? Newborn baby, congratulations. Getting used to online study. Okay. Jordan's got a new job. Transition to not working. Okay, thanks, Braden. Living alone. Coming home, Camille says coming home from a mission, learning how to do online, getting married and moving to a new state. So double whammy on transitions right there for that one. Okay, Tyler's first brand new freshman at college, first semester of college, full-time job. Debbie is going to college during middle age. Congratulations. Moving back home for Tiffany. So we've got new babies, we've got home off of missions, newlyweds, new jobs, and this whole, again, world we're living in right now is different than anybody of us has ever experienced. It's interesting because I wrote a little post on Facebook about my father-in-law. To put this in perspective, he's 97 years old on his next birthday. And by the time he was 30, he had lived as a teenager through the Great Depression. He and his family lost their home in Kansas because of the Dust Bowl and had moved to Oregon, lost everything. As a 18-year-old boy, was drafted into World War II, served through World War II, and then all of Korea. By the time he was 30, he experienced things that disrupted not only his world, but all of their worlds. Now, for me, I'm 59 years old, and this is the first thing in my life that has impacted everybody I know. 9/11 impacted a lot of people's lives, right? But I didn't lose, I didn't have to start working from home. My son has lost his job temporarily, we hope. So these transitions are difficult, right, for all of us. So the next thing I want to see on chat, or if anybody's brave enough to just talk to me about it, what are some of the emotional feelings? What are the internal emotional feelings you're having? What do the transitions bring emotionally to you? How are you guys feeling with a new baby, first semester of college? Okay, Lacey, all right, here we go. Overwhelmed, this is going to come fast. Stress, lots of anxiety, and anxiety twice. Okay, anxiety for the future. We're all experiencing that a little bit. Fear, okay, sometimes despair, another anxiety, uncertainty, frustration. Okay, good. Scared and worried. Now I'm going to give you a little disclaimer. In spite of when I don't have COVID-19, I deal personally with anxiety, okay? And so much so that I've actually written a book about it, and I'll introduce that to you later. But it's not anything, I'm not suggesting that you go buy my book, but it's something I deal with, and it's something that I really feel like I'm learning to cope with, have learned to cope with. So a couple other: sadness, scared, worried, stressful, and suicidal, irritable. Short with my children. I'm short with my children at times. Thank you for that. Well, for me, as I look back on my life, the first week in the MTC, for me, I went to the Philippines. I'm happy to hear anybody else that served in that wonderful place. Felt just like my first month in the Philippines, which felt just like my first month home from my mission, which felt like my first month of being married, my first few days and months and times of being a new dad. Anytime I've gotten a new job, it's unsettling. It's uncomfortable. A term I've used is kind of this feeling of quiet desperation. It's just like, I want to have peace, right? Well, this book and this class is going to help you and I manage all of these transitions. Now, I'm going to introduce you to some other things. I'm not suggesting that all of you go buy all of these books, right? But I have spent a lot of time studying this topic, and at times I might interject a principle, a quote, an idea or two from some of these authors, right? And at the end of the semester, I'll give you this list of some of the books that I would recommend that you add to your library if you're interested in this stuff we're going to be learning together as a class this semester. So to start with, I'm going to give you a quote from Og Mandino. One of the smallest books I've ever read. It was given to me by my mission president in 1981. And it helped me a ton and still continues to help me a ton. Og Mandino wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World and a couple of other books. But he said, in truth, the only difference between those who have failed and those who have succeeded lie in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the key to all success. Bad habits are the unlocked door of failure. Thus, the first law I will obey, which precedeth all others, is I will form good habits and become their slaves. And what we're going to talk about this semester is a little bit of the importance. It's going to be part of your creed document of values. And we're going to talk next week about the value of having a good routine. And I think values plus routine is a great habit. And great habits consistently lead to success. Now, transitioning to inner victory, and you'll learn in the first couple of chapters that we're going to read these three words: laws, arts, and clues. Now, laws are eternal principles. We can't change them. The law of gravity, the law of time, the law of chastity is an eternal principle that we believe in as members of the church. We can't change laws. Heavenly Father set them up. They are immutable, but we live by them. If I'm riding down the freeway on my motorcycle, which I don't own, by the way, but if I had a motorcycle and I'm going 60 miles an hour and my motorcycle crashes, in order for me not to get hurt, I would have to learn to immediately be able to crawl at 60 miles an hour. Those laws mean I'm going to get hurt, right? The second thing we have is arts. Arts are our abilities to live within the laws. And then we have clues. That is the evidence, the blessings, the fruits of living by these laws. Well, we learned from Doctrine and Covenants 130, 21, 22, I think, that there is a law irrevocably decreed in heaven, that any blessing we get is by living by an eternal law. So the only thing that we have any control over in this thing is our arts, our capacity and our abilities. We can't change the laws, and we can manage, but the evidence, the blessings that come from living the laws are also kind of set. If I exercise and eat well, I will look and feel better. If I don't exercise and eat well, I will feel more poorly. And so we're going to learn about the first law this week. Almost every chapter in Inner Victory is going to have a law and an art. Brother Christensen doesn't really talk about the clues, a little bit, hints here and there, but you're going to learn about a law and you're going to learn about an art. The law of the harvest is the law this week, and the art is the art of personal inspection. So last week I started off by saying the unexamined life is not worth living. Well, what we're going to be examining this semester, is what is growing in your garden. This is the law of the harvest. Your garden is everything you sow, you're going to reap. That's basically it. And there's eternal principles with this, which mean you can't speed grow things on the farm, right? You can't plant in September and harvest in October. In Idaho, we live around spud harvest and spud farmers, potato farmers. They're planting right now. For the last 3 months, they've been, well, not last too much snow. The last few weeks, they've been preparing their ground to plant potatoes. And then they're going to cultivate and treat these potatoes as best they can until the first week of October, when they're going to be harvested. The same is true about our lives. We can't cram on our lives. We can't speed grow the things that are important. And the other thing that you learn from Brother Christensen is you're always sowing. You could say, I'm just going to take this week off. I'm going to not read, I'm just going to take it easy for a while. Well, that's sowing, right? So what we're going to be creating, and this is a little reminder from last week, is your personal creed document is a tool. It's a blueprint. It's a roadmap that can help you as you manage life's transitions. So when we have our next global challenge, or you have a very intimate personal challenge, if you lose a loved one, if you have a relationship fallout, if you have an illness, if you have something that doesn't go quite right at work, if you have this foundation that your personal creed document is going to give you of what you believe in, what you value, what are your goals, what are you grateful for, what's your vision in life, you're going to be able to get through these curveballs that life's going to give you a little bit better. So why did we watch the fish philosophy? This video is actually kind of getting a little bit outdated. I think this class has been watching it for 10 to 12 years, but the principles are still relevant. And this gives me a chance to talk a little bit about what your assignment is as far as your discussion board. Many of you have already got on the discussion board. It would be best if you watched the fish video and then did your post by tomorrow within your group. And then you have Thursday and Friday to comment on 2 other people's posts. And that's the assignment. Your initial post by Wednesday, and commenting on 2 other posts. But the fish, has anybody been, let me just ask, I'm doing too much talking. Has anybody been to the Pike's Place Fish Market in person? So Jordan has. Anybody want to be brave enough to hop on your microphone and tell me what you thought of it? Some of you and less of me is a good thing.
Yeah, I can talk about it.
Okay, thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, no problem. When I went there, it was like absolute chaos. I think we went on a Saturday, and it was just extremely busy. I had people like bumping into me and stuff. It was kind of just a chaotic experience overall.
How busy was that fish market?
Uh,
The main one.
when I was there, I think it was like jammed packed. It was like a July. I think it was in July or August.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
kind of when I go up. My wife's from Tacoma, so we go up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So jam-packed. Now, my experience is if you go down, there's all sorts of markets, right? It's an open air market, right? There's flower shops and gift shops and this and that. And down that whole row are, I'm not going to count the number, I don't remember, a few others, fish markets. And they all had customers, but it wasn't a show, right? It was like one or two people buying fish. If you go to the Pike's Place Fish Market, the video's about, it's like a scene, right? And I'm sure the others are profitable, right? But they make a lot of money, I think. Well, part of the reason is that they have this vision, right? And it guides what they do. 4 principles: play, make someone's day, choose your attitude, and be there. Now, the hardest one to transfer to my job or your life at school would be play, right? You're not going to throw things around. If you're a barber, you're not throwing your scissors across the room, right? But having an optimistic, fun attitude. And what we're going to be developing in this course is the power of your vision. Now, this is not Inner Victory. This is Clayton Christensen. But this is his mission statement. We're going to start with the semester doing this, talking about this. But we're also going to go to the end of the semester when you're actually going to write your vision statement. This is his mission statement: a man dedicated to improving the lives of others, a kind, honest, forgiving, and selfless husband, father, and friend, and a man who doesn't just believe in God, but who believes God. Third example is the mission of the church, okay? Now, this is the mission that guides everything that we do as a church, and it transfers down also to BYU Idaho. But the mission of the church, this is actually the newest version. The first mission was written by President Spencer W. Kimball in the 1980s. And I remember it because I was a missionary at the time, and it came out. And back then it was called the threefold mission of the church: perfect the saints, actually proclaim the gospel, perfect saints, and redeem the dead. And then President Monson added care for the poor and the needy. So it became a fourfold mission of the church. But people remembered those 3 or 4 things, but what they really this has always been the center of the mission. The church invites all to come unto Christ and be perfected in him. That's the mission. And instead of saying proclaim the gospel, redeem the dead, perfect the saints, they now just say, and this invitation pertains to everybody who's ever lived or will live on planet Earth. So what we're going to be creating over the next little bit is your mission statement. So I'm going to end with just this kind of a thought, and then we'll see if you have any questions. One of the things that I've puzzled with for much of my life is what motivates me. I can be incredibly motivated at times, but I can also need my butt kicked a little bit to do stuff, right? So any thoughts on what motivates you guys? What is the reason why you want to do things? Okay, Braden, future family, thank you for that. Think about an eternal feeling. What motivates you? If you really get excited about doing something, what's behind that? Self-growth, thank you, Sierra. Wanting. Okay. For the sake of time, I'm going to speed this up just a little bit, okay? This bridge represents me, kind of a journey, right? There are a lot of things I do in my day. Debbie, you just answered it for me, by the way. Hold on to the end. I do things because I have to, right? Sometimes I do things because I ought to. And when I get there, I do things because I want to. Now, the motivation for have to is fear. And sometimes I'm guilty, and I was raised at times this way to do things out of fear. You'll learn to play the piano, or you'll lose this, or you'll get in trouble, or you'll get spanked, or you'll get yelled at. Ought to is a big motivator for me, sadly, but I do things because if I don't do it, I will feel guilt or duty, right? Well, when I really am successful, I do things, as Debbie put into chat, is something that she loves. And the goal is we want to get to things that we love. And to top off today, actually, I'll just share this with you. We'll end with this. Maybe top 3 of my favorite quotes of all time. Steve Jobs said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do. And if you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it." It frustrates me. My full-time job is managing the Career Center here at the university. So my job is to help you get jobs. Only 87%, sorry, that's the wrong half of that equation. Only 13% of American professionals, these are people who have degrees, who have jobs, love their jobs. That means 87% of Americans either dislike their job or it's okay. Well, you want to get to a job that you love. And I see students that I advise and help all the time who, what are you majoring in and why are you majoring in it? Well, I really want to be a teacher, but they don't make that much money. Or, well, my best friend says I should be an accountant because they're hiring, right? If your passion is graphic design, be a graphic designer. If your passion is engineering or mathematics or dance, do it. You'll do better work. And the irony is, and what we're learning is we help kids get jobs. Really quick example. We had 4 of our alumni come back to speak to our students that work at Goldman Sachs. Hard company to get into, good company. They are in good jobs. The girl I met her, I said, "Hey, you're here to talk to our students. You're talking to this business class today. What was your major at BYU, Idaho?" She said, "Animal science." Goldman Sachs will hire people because they have good people skills, and he'll put them in jobs that match their skills. And they'll end up loving it because they're doing things that they're good at and they love to do, even if it's not exactly in the major you're in. All right, off the high horse there. All right, I promise these meetings will be short, so we're going to conclude. Just a summary. This week, a light week, only 2 assignments that are graded. 1, your weekly discussion on the fish video. Again, if you're not getting it to come up through Canvas, I'm going to send you a link. It's a shorter version, but it's going to get the point across. And then your comments to others. And then your weekly evaluation, which you can do after this meeting. As a reminder, and it's okay to do it at the end of the week too, but as a reminder, the 44 of you that are on this meeting live, just put attended in the top box. So that's easy. It saves you writing 2 or 3 sentences, not a big deal. Everybody answers question 2, right? And this course, I'm a little too invested in it because I've been teaching it for so long, but I'm on a committee that is going to evaluate how we could make this better. And that might mean we're going to do different things. We might change the text, for example. So your honest feedback isn't going to hurt my feelings, right? Because as we go forward and we tweak this, and we may say, no, it's perfect the way it is. I doubt it'll be perfect the way it is. I love the class. I love the personal creed document, but I know some of it's getting a little outdated, right? All the case studies that you're going to do starting next week, I wrote. And they're time to be refreshed, right? You can say, no, you're off on that. So that second part, what you like, dislike, be honest with me. It's going to help us as we build the class. Okay, questions. Anybody have any questions? You can put it in chat or hop on. And then I will stay on after we stop the recording. if any of you want to talk with me face to face. So Braden, your question is, let's hang on for a few minutes now, and if we need to talk more tomorrow, we can set up a different time. Okay? All right. Any questions? Thank you, Jacob, for hopping on and asking. I love that. Need more of that. Parker, I hear, or someone's unmuted.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions? Yes. So, Arlie, I will email the link to the fish video. It should work through Canvas, but I don't know. About 10% of you, for some reason, it's not going to work. So, just do the YouTube link I'm going to send you. Okay. Seeing no questions for now, and for the sake of all the people who have to watch a 20-minute recording, we're going to end this recording, but I'll stay on for any other questions. All right. Thanks, you guys.